Well, the kids going back to school, so are we. We're going to the Umbrella Academy. And first, a comic book made by one of the band members from My Chemical Romance. First, they tried to pitch it as a feature film. And now, as we know it, it became a series on Netflix, which seems possibly the best outcome. And we only have a few small, three of us to read today. And so we're going to take on multiple roles. And the others that are taking on multiple roles are Vicky Dykes. Please tell them about yourself, what you do, and where they can find you.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm from Central Alberta. I'm an actor and a yoga enthusiast. And I'm actually about to start filming my yoga show. And it'd be great if you guys could get involved and get in shape. Tonight, I will be reading actions and descriptions. We'll see how far I get. And I will be for the two larger roles, Vanya and Luther, and a few other smaller roles.
Excellent, excellent. Oh yes.
Please where continue. You can find me. I'm on Facebook under the name Vicky Dykes, and Instagram, I'm Yoga Grandma 7.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm Jacob Patrick, and you can find me here every week. But we also have Angel Peterson.
So I'm Angel, and I'm going to be reading Allison Klaus, number 5, Temp 1, Waitress, and Reporter 3, and probably take some action descriptions on if needed.
Yeah, I think we'll split that up between the three of us and each take a third. So make it a little more balanced as possible. And so that's us, and we'll get started. So I'll share the screen, and Vicky, you share your talents with us.
Universal Cable Productions, The Umbrella Academy. Episode 1, We Only See Each Other at Weddings and Funerals, written by Jeremy Slater, based on The Umbrella Academy by Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba. Teaser. Exterior Polish village, flashback day. A picturesque European village, quaint and charming. We follow a pretty young teenage girl down the street. FX, Rudki, Poland, October 1st, 1984. Suddenly, the girl stops, alarmed, clutching her stomach, gritting her teeth. She stumbles on, holding her belly. And is it our imagination, or is her previously flat stomach expanding by the second? Exterior Polish village night. Night has fallen. A violent thunderstorm rips through the heavens. Rain sleeting down throughout the village. Nervous townspeople huddled in groups, whispering, sharing gossip. Interior Polish home, night. The teenage girl yowls in pain. Her belly is wildly distended. The doctor emerges from between her legs, holding a perfectly healthy newborn baby boy. The new mother begins to sob. In the corner, her parents hold each other. Title card. On the first day of October 1984, 43 women around the world simultaneously gave birth. Exterior Polish village night. A mob forms. The villagers are scared, demanding answers. Title card. None of the women showed any prior signs of pregnancy. The mob surrounds the house. Suddenly, they're struck by a blinding spotlight from above. A massive steam-powered dirigible hangs in the sky above them, its rotors churning the air. The villagers back away in terror as a rope ladder unfurls. A tall figure descends the ladder, turns to face the mob. Reginald Hargreaves, 40s, world-famous explorer, industrialist, and philanthropist, torchlight reflecting off his distinctive silver monocle. Hargreaves coldly surveys the gathered crowd, then wordlessly enters the home. Title card. Sir Reginald Hargreaves, eccentric billionaire and playboy adventurer, made it his personal mission to find and adopt as many of these children as possible. Interior Polish home continuous. Hargreaves enters the birthing room. The family stares, too confused to protest. As he approaches the teenage mother, he examines the newborn in her arms, pokes it with one slender finger. Satisfied, he looks to the mother.
How much do you want for it?
Title card. He got 7 of them. Interior concert hall night. New York, a darkened concert hall. A beautiful young woman takes the stage, violin in hand. She begins to play. Title card, 30 years later. This is Vanya. Like all our main characters, she is in her early 30s. Shy, sweet, perhaps a bit too fragile for her own good. Despite this, she plays with an easy confidence. Her haunting melody carries through the rest of the teaser. Exterior Sunset Boulevard night. Paparazzi on motorcycles race across a black Escalade with tinted windows.
Want a short break, Vicky?
Yeah.
Yes. Weaving in and out of traffic, the SUV pulls into the driveway of Los Angeles famed Chateau Marmont. The photographers abandon their bikes, rush to snap pictures of the woman stepping out of the Escalade. Allison emerges, hidden beneath dark glasses, perhaps the most famous woman on the planet. Her bodyguards attempt to shield her from the flashing cameras. Exterior suburban neighborhood night, a quiet suburban neighborhood. We zero in on a specific house. The back door has been broken, glass everywhere. Through the living room window, we see the family seated in the center of the room, bound and gagged. We raise higher through the second-story window. We see masked intruders ransacking the bedroom, a home invasion. Interior suburban house continuous. One of the home invaders makes his way down the hall, a shotgun held loosely in his grip, checking room in turn. A flicker of motion catches his attention. He spins the gun raised, but there's nothing there, just a darkened window. Slowly, he lowers the gun. Must have been his imagination. Interior rave club night. A rave in Amsterdam, pulsing lights, sweaty bodies, Vanya's violin solo blending seamlessly into the pulsing electronic music. We drift through the club, rising past the spiral staircase and finally entering the VIP area where a pale, emaciated man levitates in mid-air lotus pose. Meet Klaus. Think David Bowie crossed with Hunter S. Thompson. Exterior, the moon, night. Jagged spires of stone rise from lifeless soil. High overhead hangs a brilliant blue orb, the earth itself. We're on the surface of the moon, and we're not alone. A massive shape sits hunched atop one of the rocky bluffs, staring out across the desolate wasteland. The details are hard to make out. He's definitely wearing some sort of protective suit, but his body proportions are all wrong. The figure is gigantic, misshapen, grotesquely muscular. Angle on his face. Luther, perhaps the single loneliest man you've ever seen. The communication device at his side blinks to life. Luther scans the incoming message, his expression shocked. Interior concert hall night. Now the montage picks up speed, intercutting at will. Vanya launches into a feverish violin solo, the bow moving almost too fast to see. Interior suburban house night. The home invasion is still in progress. One of the robbers standing over the helpless family. Behind him, a section of the darkness breaks free, glides closer, taking on the proportions of a man clad in a sleek combat suit, wearing a simple domino mask. This is Diego. The robber senses something, starts to turn. Too late. Diego disarms the intruder with brutal efficiency, shattering the man's elbow in the process, raining punches into his kidneys before finally slamming him face first through a glass coffee table. Think Batman minus the self-control. Exterior Chateau Marmont patio night. Allison sits at a table, surrounded by people, but somehow still alone. Everyone else is laughing, drinking, enjoying being young and famous. Allison just stares straight ahead. One of her assistants leans in and whispers something in her ear. Frowning, Allison checks her phone. We push in. Her expression changes. The rave club, night. The same thing is happening in Amsterdam. A manager enters the VIP area and whispers something to Klaus, who is still levitating in midair. He thumps back to the ground, stunned. Interior concert hall, night. We return to Vanya, still playing her heart out. As we pan around her, the cell phone in her back pocket suddenly lights up, vibrating. Her concentration breaks. She plays the wrong note. The solo comes to a crashing halt. Vanya stands there, her face burning, knowing she bombed the audition. Nevertheless, she manages a polite bow to the unseen judges watching her from the balcony. Exterior streets of New York, night. Vanya hurries down the sidewalk, filing case in hand. Suddenly she stops short, staring at a storefront television. The screen shows a picture of the distinguished older man wearing a gleaming silver monocle. The news reads, eccentric billionaire and founder of the Umbrella Academy, Reginald Hargreaves, dead at 63. We push in on Vanya's face as she speaks the only word of the teaser.
Dad.
The Umbrella Academy.
Act 1. Exterior country road day. A taxi winds its way down a series of twisting gravel roads, dense forest on all sides. Vanya sits in the back of the taxi, gazing out the window, her mind a million miles away. Exterior Umbrella Academy, grounds day. A sprawling Gothic mansion, chilling and austere. This is the fabled Umbrella Academy. The taxi deposits Vanya outside the mansion. She watches as it pulls away, feeling very small, very alone. Interior mansion, grand hall, moments later. Once upon a time, this was a magical place, a wonderland of cutting-edge technology and strange archaeological artifacts gathered from around the globe. But Hargreaves spent the last decade of his life alone, and the once great manor has fallen into disrepair. Nowhere is there more evident than the automations that Hargreaves created, robotic creations imbued with some small degree of intelligence. And now these malfunctioning robots litter the manor, broken and crippled things. Vanya enters the lobby, a broken automaton, thank you. Automaton comes limping towards her. An ancient teddy bear, its face sloughing off, arms extended for a hug.
My purpose is love.
Vanya kicks the bear over, steps past. The bear's legs continue to scissor mindlessly.
Why?
Would you look at that?
Vanya turns to find Allison standing in the doorway.
Everyone was like taking bets on whether you'd show.
And did you win? Allison gives a small, rueful shrug. Nope. And then she steps forward to embrace her sister. It's an awkward moment, neither of them quite ready to make physical contact.
Are we supposed to? How's this go?
I have no idea. Allison gives Vanya a quick obligatory hug, and then she reconsiders, pulls Vanya in closer, and Vanya closes her eyes, rests her chin on Allison's shoulder. God, she needed this.
Glad you're here.
I'm Diego. At least someone is.
And they break apart to reveal Diego, glaring at Vanya. Unlike the others, Diego is wearing his usual attire, a Kevlar reinforced black bodysuit, complete with domino mask.
Eat crap, Diego.
You're seriously gonna defend her after what she did?
You're seriously gonna do this today? At Dad's funeral?
Dad knew what she was.
He turns away in disgust. Vanya stares after him, dismayed. Interior mansion, Hargreaves' room, day. Hargreaves' bedroom, chilly and austere. Luther runs his hand along a fainted indentation left in the mattress, the spot where his father slept for the last 30 years. Luther's body is hidden beneath a massive overcoat that does little to disguise his monstrous, unnatural proportions. Note, in later episodes, we will learn that Luther's head has been grafted onto the body of a gorilla. Yes, really. Luther moves to the window, examines the locking mechanism. Behind him, Diego saunters into the room.
If you're looking for the will, you're wasting your time.
Luther glares at his brother. No love lost between these two. Diego.
But you're not looking for the will, are you? You're looking for something else. Nice monkey suit, by the way.
Luther irritably slaps his hand away. Diego flops down into Hargreaves' favorite armchair, one leg thrown over the side. What do you want?
To save you some time.
Diego hands Luther a crumpled medical report. What is this?
Dad's a top. I can't
I-
say it right now. What?
Autopsy.
I know, yeah, autopsy
You're thinking
report.
autumn.
I know my brain's just not working with that word right now.
Autopsy.
We hear it all the time, and yeah, it's just not
Autopsy.
autopsy.
You have this. Why?
Because I broke into the county coroner's office. The point is, it was normal, boring old heart failure.
I know that.
So you're checking the windows and doors for fun? All locked, by the way. No forced entry, no evidence of a struggle.
Were you the first one on the scene? Diego stares at his brother, a flicker of grim amusement.
No, Pogo found him.
What about Dad's monocle?
What about it?
Do you know where it is?
Why are you doing this, Luther?
Asking questions?
Looking for a fight. There's no mystery here. There's nothing to solve or avenge or anything else. Dad got old and he died alone, just like we always knew he would. End of story. I'm trying to help you.
You should leave. Luther's voice is gravel, broken glass, the voice of a man struggling to keep his fury in check. Diego recognizes this. He tips an imaginary hat and then strolls out of the room. Luther remains at the window, his massive body silhouetted against the soft orange light. Interior mansion library day. Vanya enters Hargreaves' library. She scans the wall to ceiling shelves, searching for a specific title. To her surprise, she actually finds the book, Extraordinary, My Life as Number 7 by Vanya Hargreaves. The back cover shows an author photo of Vanya herself. Well, I'll be damned. Vanya turns to the inscription page of her book, where she finds the dedication she wrote to her father. Dad, I figured, why not? V. She smiles softly to herself.
Welcome home, Miss Vanya.
She turns to find an elderly chimpanzee limping into the room. He's dressed in a natty tweed jacket. And this is Pogo. Pogo! She kneels and embraces Pogo. He returns the embrace warmly.
It's so good to see you.
She pulls away, beaming. He notices the book in her hand.
Oh, yes, your book.
I never knew he got it. Did he ever read it?
Not that I'm aware of. Then again, your father was a very private man.
Her expression hardens. She returns the book to its shelf. Hand in hand, they leave the room together. Interior mansion corridor. Moments later, Vanya and Pogo pause before a framed portrait on the wall. It shows the young boy we met earlier in the story. The placard at the bottom of the painting reads, Number 5. How long has it been?
22 years, 7 months, 16 days.
I used to leave the lights on at night in case he came back. I didn't want him to be scared.
Your father used to insist that he could feel Number 5's presence, that he was still out there somewhere. He never gave up hope.
And look where it got him. Interior mansion trophy room, same time. Meanwhile, Allison enters a cavernous room filled with Umbrella Academy memorabilia. posters and news clippings of their exploits, merchandise, toys, and costumes. Allison turns in a slow circle. Her gaze falls on a life-size mural painted across the far wall. It shows Allison and her siblings as children, and they're wearing matching costumes and domino masks, each one striking a different heroic pose. Only Vanya is missing from the mural. Allison browses the memorabilia room, her expression wistful, perhaps just the tiniest bit embarrassed. She picks up a stack of old teen magazines, think Tiger Beat. Young Allison graces every cover, glamorous, already a star in the making. Have you heard the rumor? Rumor has it. Allison. She turns to find Luther standing in the doorway. I wasn't sure you'd come. Where's Patrick?
Filed for divorce 8 months ago.
What about Claire?
He got sole custody.
I'm sorry. Allison picks up another magazine. Hargreaves on the cover.
He's really gone, huh?
When's the last time you talked to him?
God knows. Before Claire was born? So what, maybe 7 years ago? 8? What about you?
He called me every day, every single day.
You know what I love about funerals?
Klaus floats into the room, doing a lazy mid-air backstroke.
Everything I own is black. If it isn't my baby sister. Ooh, and the mighty space boy.
The name's Luther.
The old man kicks it and the code names are the first to go. Shame.
He drifts backwards out of the room, humming merrily. So he's still insane. She grins back at him.
Is it weird that I find that strangely comforting?
Did you see Diego?
With his stupid little mask? God.
You think he wears it in the bathroom, like in the shower?
Oh, 100%.
Their smiles gradually fade, while both of them remembering the task still at hand. Luther sighs heavily. Okay, want to get this over with? She nods. Luther starts towards the door. Allison hesitates.
Hey, Luther. It's really good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. He holds her gaze, longing and regret in equal measure. Allison senses the pull just as strongly. And then Luther remembers what he has become and breaks the connection. Interior mansion, dining room, short time later. Diego, Vanya, Klaus, Allison are seated at the long dining table. Luther enters, moves to the head of the table.
Can we hurry this along?
I thought we could have the memorial service at sundown out by Dad's favorite tree.
Dad had a favorite tree?
Yeah, the big elm. He used to take me out there and we'd sit and talk about it.
Luther trails off, awkward, as he realizes none of the others were privy to this particular side of Hargreaves.
It doesn't matter. What's important is there are things we still need to discuss.
Question. Will there be food? Like what?
Well, like Dad, the way he died.
And here we go.
I thought it was a heart attack. Well, according to the coroner.
Yeah, well, I think he'd know.
His heart stopped at 4:32 in the morning. We know the exact moment because of his pacemaker. Why does that matter? Well, there are over 250 cameras on the property. You know how Dad was.
Paranoid?
Insane.
Tall.
He died at 4:32. 3 minutes before that, the cameras stopped recording, all of them. There's a 10-minute gap before they come back on.
A moment while this sinks in.
Wait, Sorry, I wasn't listening. What?
They ignore him. Allison mulls this over.
You're saying someone killed him? Made it look like natural causes?
And then erased the footage. Okay, hold up. Confused. Who had that kind of access? It's the same system from when we were kids. Retinal scan grants full access. I tested it to make sure.
A beat to process that.
What? What does that mean?
Please, like it's not obvious. You're not telling us this because you want our help, are you? You think one of us did it. The news sinks in around the table. Vanya looks to Diego, Allison to Luther. Luther stares back, impassive.
But there's definitely no food?
End of Act 1. Dun, dun, dun. Act 2. Interior Mansion Training Room flashback. We follow Hargreaves as he prowls the Academy training room, a futuristic cross between NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the X-Men Danger Room. We pass an exercise area where young Luther is effortlessly bench pressing more than 500 pounds. Mind your form, number 1.
Oh, yes, sir.
He passes a water tank where young Diego floats, submerged, arms crossed, looking bored. A technician monitors the boy. How long has he been in there?
Going on 6 hours.
Tell him he can come out at 10. Inside the tank, young Diego gives Hargreaves the finger. Hargreaves continues on, passing young Klaus, who stands motionless, trembling, eyes shut tightly in concentration. Hargreaves sees the boy is struggling, leans down. Clear your mind.
But the voices.
The voices are there to serve you, not the other way around. Your fear is a weapon, and I want you to use it now. Clear your mind. Young Klaus takes a deep breath, his face going slack. Behind them, every object in sight slowly levitates off the ground, bobbing and hovering in midair. Hargreaves nods curtly, claps Klaus on the shoulder, and continues on. Hargreaves passes young Allison, curled up on a bench reading a paper novel. You're supposed to be training, number 3.
I heard a rumor I didn't have to.
Quite all right. Hargreaves keeps walking, pushes through a pair of doors. Interior Mansion training room corridor continues. We follow Hargreaves down a narrow corridor past a series of individual training rooms. Think racquetball courts modified with floor-to-ceiling bulletproof shielding. Inside the first court, a group of frightened-looking armed soldiers react with terror to something headed their way. They open fire with beanbag shotguns and stun rifles. A monstrous Lovecraftian horror rampage into view. Tentacles flailing. We realize the hapless soldiers are actually sparring partners for this thing. Without breaking stride, Hargreaves nods his approval as the monster flattens the guards. Excellent work, number 6.
Ben.
Hargreaves turns. Young Vanya stands behind him, defiant.
His name's Ben.
Hargreaves makes a sour face. In the background, one of the guards gets slammed face fist into the observation window. You're not supposed to be down here. He turns, keeps walking. The little girl calls after him.
We have names.
Hargreaves arrives at another testing room. Another umbrella technician stands before the observation window. And how's he doing? See for yourself. Should be arriving in 4, 3, 2. Through the plastic window, we see an empty training room filled with plastic dummies dressed like armed terrorists. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the room explodes into chaos. Every dummy violently whips back and forth. Heads vanish, limbs snap, knives appear buried into the hilt in plastic bodies. At the same time, a small, serious boy blinks into existence. Standing in the center of the room, quite bored, this is number 5, a ruthless little war machine. Slow it down. The tech replays the footage in super slow motion. We see that number 5 is actually teleporting around the room, moving almost too fast to follow. stabbing dummies brutally, snapping their necks. Hargreaves smiles, impressed. He's perfect. He's a reckless one miscalculation and he could get lost in time. That won't happen, will it, number 5? Number 5 fixes his father with a cool stare.
No, father.
We dissolve back to the present. Interior mansion, sitting room, day. A ceramic urn is opened. It's filled with cremated ashes. Klaus dips his hand into the urn, lets the ashes spill through his fingertip, glasses around the room.
Come out, wherever you are. Luther says you were killed. I don't know about that, but if you were, and if you wanted to, I don't know, give me some kind of sign.
He waits a moment, then sighs, disappointed.
You always were a stubborn bastard.
Interior mansion, Hargreaves' office, day. The walls of Hargreaves' office are covered with hunting trophies. Some we recognize, elephant, bear, rhino, and some we do not. Some don't look like they came from this planet. Luther sits behind a massive mahogany desk, ransacking the drawers. He's searching for something. But what? Master Luther? Pogo limps into the room, cradling something in his paws.
I'm looking for Dad's monocle. Have you seen it?
No, but I assume it's with the rest of his personal effects.
It's not. Already checked.
Pogo clears his throat and tries again. Your father left me with a very specific set of instructions. In the unlikely event of his passing, he wanted you to have this. Pogo gives Luther a small ruby gem, intricately cut. Luther takes the gem, smiling softly to himself.
The Eye of Anubis. He took it from boss Tatan. Man. First mission.
My speech.
That guy. First mission I ever led. It was the best day of my life.
Perhaps that's why he wanted you to have it, Master Luther. Luther is silent for a beat, turning the gem in his hand.
The others think I'm crazy.
In their defense, you did accuse one of them of patricide.
So you don't believe me either.
In my short time on this earth, I've seen incredible things from the children of the Umbrella Academy. I've seen courage and imagination beyond all reckoning. Moments of weakness, yes, of course. But what I have not seen is cowardice or treachery. And to kill a man in his sleep is the ultimate act of cowardice. Pogo limps away, hesitates a moment at the doorway. You should have your faith in your family, Master Luther. They still have faith in you. Interior mansion, Vanya's room, same time. Vanya sits on her childhood bed, surrounded by dolls and stuffed animals. The room hasn't changed in 20 years. The overhead lights begin to flicker. We hear a rattle. An old silver locket on the table has begun to vibrate. Vanya stares. The locket is suddenly flung across the room and pinned in place against the far wall. Interior mansion, master bedroom at the same time. Allison has changed into her funeral attire, black dress, mourning veil. As she studies herself in the mirror, the reflection vibrates. We hear a rumble. Interior mansion, same time, kitchen. Klaus, watching in confusion as various metal objects are magnetically hurled across the room. Dozens of pieces of silverware are already pinned against the nearest wall. Exterior Umbrella Academy grounds, same time. Diego bursts out of the mansion. Pogo follows, close behind. A blazing electromagnetic disturbance hovers just above the driveway, hissing and crackling like a fireball. The air around them is alive, ripped by gale force winds. The others emerge one by one. Vanya, Klaus, Allison, and finally Luther. Klaus takes one look at the fireball, then ducks back inside.
What is it?
Get back. Don't touch it.
Yeah, no crap. It appears to be some sort of temporal anomaly or possibly a black hole. Pretty big difference there, Pogo. Klaus returns, holding a tiny fire extinguisher.
What the hell are you going to do with that? I don't know. Do you have a better idea?
The disturbance is getting brighter, more powerful. The observers are forced to shield their eyes.
Running? I vote for running. Everyone get behind me.
Instinctively, Allison reaches out, takes Luther's hand. He glances down, surprised despite himself. Vroom! Without warning, the disturbance seems to implode, folding in upon itself. The winds abruptly subside. The disturbance is gone, and in its place is a tiny form, smoke rising from his body. The figure straightens up. It's number 5, still 10 years old. Although we haven't seen him in 22 years, he hasn't aged a day.
Holy crap. Does anyone else see the little number 5? Just me?
Number 5 calmly scans his surroundings.
Anyone care to tell me what year this is?
End of Act 2. Act 3, interior mansion, kitchen, afternoon. Number 5 enters the kitchen, heads straight for the fridge. The others follow him, still hopelessly confused.
What are you doing?
Making a sandwich. Do you know how long it's been since I've eaten solid food?
Number 5 opens the fridge door. Luther slams it shut again. Number 5 glances up, annoyed.
You look ridiculous, by the way.
It's been 22 years, number 5. Where have you been?
It's been a lot longer than that.
He opens the fridge again, digs out some ingredients.
What happened to you?
Number 5 stands on a chair so that he can reach the counter. He begins slathering mayonnaise on bread.
What do you think happened? I decided to test the limits of my time jumping, see how far I could go. Turns out, pretty far.
Klaus elbows Diego. Diego grudgingly passes him the $5.
Dad always warned me not to go too far into the future, on the account of my jumps only working in one direction. This time, he was right. Christ, I needed that.
Allison sits down across from the boy, studying him.
And how'd you get back?
Number 5 answers through a mouthful of sandwich.
By projecting my consciousness backwards into a suspended quantum state version of myself that exists in every possible instance of time.
That makes no sense.
What if you were smarter? Granted, it did take me a little time to work out all the nuts and bolts of it. How much time? 52 years, give or take.
You're 62.
No, my consciousness is 62. My body's still 10. But the point is, Dad said it couldn't be done, and I did it. So, where's the old bastard anyway? I want to rub it in his face.
He died 3 days ago.
The boy stares at him, chewing, his face impassive.
Natural causes.
We
Yes.
don't know.
Well, that complicates things.
What kinds of things?
All kinds of things. What's today's date? The exact date. The 14th, I think. Of what? July?
The boy frowns, dismayed, slides off his stool.
It doesn't leave us much time.
Gnawing on his sandwich, the boy strolls out of the room.
Time for what? We're not done here. Number 5.
Number 5 climbs the stairs, disappears. Luther glances around the room helplessly. The others look just as confused, except Klaus. He points to the sandwich ingredients.
Pastrami.
Interior mansion, number 5's room, short time later. Vanya goes looking for number 5, finds him standing in his old bedroom staring at old toys and books forlorn.
Kept all my things.
Vanya kneels behind him, wraps her arms around him. The boy pulls away at once, flinching angrily.
What are you doing?
It's called a hug.
Hug. Right. I may have reacted poorly downstairs. Side effect of 52 years without any physical contact.
What do you mean?
He gazes at her for a long beat, struggling with some internal decision, but instead of answering, he turns away.
I read your book, you know. Found it in a public library. That's how I knew how bad things had gotten. How number 6 died.
Ben.
How we failed. This is the wrong time. I came too late. Dolores always said my equation was off. I must have forgotten to carry the second 2.
Who's Dolores?
There's another option. Someone or something pulled me out of the time stream early. brought me here to this exact moment.
But why?
The boy doesn't answer. He stares out the window, haunted.
They know I'm here.
Interior Mansion, Hargreaves' office, afternoon. Allison enters her father's old office. Luther is studying the autopsy report that Diego stole from the coroner. We glimpse the evidence photos of Reginald Hargreaves lying dead in his bed, hands clasped peacefully across his chest. It's the first time we've seen Hargreaves without his trademark silver monocle.
It's time. If you wanted to, you can get changed.
You do realize I can't just buy suits off the rack, right? Are you mad at me?
Am I mad? Do you even know how messed up that was back there? You can't just drop a bomb like, hey, I think one of you may have killed Dad, and just leave it at like that.
I didn't.
But that's exactly what you did.
I'm just saying. Now, look how we turned out. Vanya, insecure wreck. Diego, roid rage poster boy, and Klaus, barely keeping it together.
Well, how about Allison? Tabloid disaster? World's worst mom?
I didn't say that.
You gonna blame Dad for the way I turned out? Or how about number 5? He just showed up. Maybe you want to go accuse him of murder?
Yeah, and he just happens to show up today? That doesn't seem like a hell of a coincidence to you?
She shakes her head, disgusted.
Dad's not the victim here, Luther. We were. We all got screwed over. That doesn't mean we have a motive. Why are you doing this? What, like all of a sudden we're going to break out this spandex again? Maybe go beat the crap out of Dr. Terminal?
You think that's what this is about? The academy?
Luther angrily brushes past her. Interior Mansion corridor continues. Allison follows Luther out of the office.
Then what? Why do you even care?
Luther spins around, crunch, puts his fist through the nearest wall, hard enough to leave a basketball-sized hole.
Because he sent me up there. He said, watch for threats, number 1. He said, no one else can do this but you. And I trusted him 4 years by myself, staring at a bunch of goddamn rocks. And every single morning I had to tell myself, don't worry, Dad must have had his reasons. One day this will all make sense. And it was for nothing.
Allison gazes up at him sadly, reaches out to touch his arm. Luther irritably slaps her hand away.
You want to talk motive? How's that for getting screwed over?
He turns and storms away. Allison stares after him, unhappy. Interior Mansion, grand ballroom, same time. Meanwhile, Diego saunters down a different corridor. He pauses outside the grand ballroom. His jaw drops. The ballroom is filled with floating clothes, men's suits and women's dresses, all performing a slow, elaborate ballroom waltz. Klaus stands in the center, spinning and pirouetting, conducting this madness. Klaus! Klaus whips around. Startled, all the clothes collapse to the floor at once.
Certainly not dancing with Mother's old clothes. You did ask what I'm doing?
No.
Well then, I wasn't doing anything at all. And you, what about you, brother? What's been keeping you busy these days? Fun in the sun? Maybe some light beach volleyball?
My job.
Yes. Beating criminals senseless, breaking bones and cracking skulls.
Saving lives. What have you been doing? Klaus just grins. Behind him, the clothes levitate back into the air, forming the word drugs in giant letters. Diego shakes his head and keeps walking. Idiot. Exterior, Umbrella Academy, sundown. One by one, the siblings emerge from the mansion. Single file, they start across the field. Exterior, Umbrella Academy grounds moments later. The funeral takes place beneath a towering elm tree. All 6 surviving Umbrella siblings are in attendance. Luther is carrying the urn containing Hargreaves' ashes. The others form a loose semicircle around him. Nearby, a trio of ancient automatrons play an especially crappy rendition of Amazing Grace on their trumpets. Pogo is the last to survive, supporting himself on his cane. Whenever you're ready, my dear boy. Luther inverts the urn. The ashes slide out in a clump, landing in a pile at his feet. It's kind of pathetic.
Probably would have been better with some wind.
Pogo glares at Klaus, then clears his throat. Does anyone wish to speak? We pan around the circle. Luther, Diego, Allison, number 5, Klaus, Vanya. No one speaks. Very well. In all regards, Reginald Hargreaves made me the creature that I am today. And for that alone, I shall be forever in his debt. He was my friend and my master, and I shall miss him very much. He was a complicated man. He was a monster. He was as bad as a person and worse as a father. And the world's better without him.
Kraken, you ass.
My name is not Kraken. Don't you get that? We're more than the names he gives us. This entire place is a lie. That's his legacy.
We're his legacy.
Well, I hope he's proud. Drug addict, fame whore, traitor, whatever the hell you are, and the mighty space boy.
Well, at least I didn't turn tail and run.
No, you sat on the moon like a good little doggy. He had to send you 240,000 miles away. That's how much he couldn't stand the sight of you. Luther loses his temper, lunges for Diego, but Diego's faster, ducking Luther's giant fist. One lucky shot, and Luther will take his head clean off.
Stop it.
Yeah, no, stop it.
Now Diego turns the tables on Luther. Luther may have the size, but Diego certainly has the speed. He strikes Luther several times in quick succession. Luther grabs Diego's jacket, hurls him through the air. Diego flips around in midair, springs off the wall, kicking Luther in the face. Boys, stop this at once. Luther bull rushes Diego, slamming him into the elm tree. Number 5 rolls his eyes and starts walking back toward the mansion. Klaus lights a joint and settles in to watch. Meanwhile, Luther hauls back and delivers a haymaker. Diego ducks away. The punch cleaves the tree in half.
And there goes Dad's favorite tree.
As the tree crashes down, Diego and Luther continue to fight, and it's becoming apparent they're too evenly matched. Neither brother can gain the upper hand. Diego pulls something from his belt, a curved fighting knife. As Luther swings again, he whips the knife through the air. The blade tears open the sleeve of Luther's overcoat, but we don't see bare skin underneath. We see coarse animal fur. The fight goes out of Luther at once. He stumbles backwards, clapping his hand over the fur, hiding it from sight. There's your legacy right there. Thanks, Dad. Luther looks around wildly, meets Allison's gaze for a heartbeat, then turns and lumbers back toward the mansion. Vanya gets in Diego's face and shoves his chest.
You're an asshole.
And you're trespassing. Why did you even come back, Vanya?
Diego, shut up.
No, let me guess. Writing a sequel? I hope you got enough material. Vanya's eyes filled with tears. She storms away, heading not for the mansion, but for the gate at the bottom of the hill. Oh, dear. Allison leads after. After a moment, Diego wanders away, leaving Klaus alone. Klaus kneels, pokes his finger into the pile of Hargreaves' ashes on the ground.
Bet you're just loving this.
Birds cry overhead. There is no other answer. Exterior forest, same time. Deep in the forest, figures are moving. We catch flashes of orange and black body armor, leather boots tromping through the mud, sunlight glinting on a futuristic weaponry. Slowly, the figures emerge from the underbrush. Each is wearing a gas mask helmet with reflections of orange goggles. These are the temps. Our Eternals? The lead temp surveys the academy grounds. His flunkies consult their high-tech scanning equipment.
Target's definitely inside.
No sign of defensive measures. The lead temp motions to an agent we'll call Dead Meat Temp. Dead Meat starts forward, Moving continuously, he climbs through a gap in the crumbling stone wall. The second he steps foot onto the umbrella property, a massive booby trap explodes from the soil. It looks like a laser grid fly swatter. The fly swatter slams down on the luckless temp, bisecting him into 100 tiny cubes. The other temps stare. No one seems particularly heartbroken. And, all right, well, let's not do that again. All units, fall back. What about the target? We can wait. We've got all the time in the world. One by one, they mount backwards into the forest. End of Act 3. Act 4, exterior city street, day, flashback. Another flashback, a quartet of 90s yuppies. 2 guys, 2 girls clown their way down the sidewalk. This looks like the intro of your typical 90s sitcom. They reach a bank. One of the guys holds the door open for his friends as they all walk in. Interior bank flashback, and the lead guy promptly gets his nose bashed in by the butt of a combat shotgun. The yuppie girl screams, and several armed bank robbers grab them and haul them inside.
Get down on the goddamn ground.
Hard cut to interior bank day flashback. Hours later, the bank is under siege. We follow robber number 4 as he patrols the floor, AK-47 in hand. Various customers and bank employees huddle up on the floor, sobbing, terrified. We approach robber number 1, currently in the process of his crap as he talks to a hostage negotiator over the phone. I don't give a crap. You are the one out of time. I told you what would happen, didn't I? Didn't I tell you? He gestures angrily at robber number 2, yanks the frightened bank teller to his feet, and he drags the man over. Get him over here. Come on. I want you to listen real careful. He holds the phone to bank teller number 1. Yo, tell him your name. It's Craig. Craig Davis. You go home tonight. Your wife asks, how was work? You tell her, oh, not bad. I got a guy named Craig Davis killed. Now we're done talking. Now you're going to listen. The bank teller moans, closes his eyes. Robber number 1 drops the phone and steps forward, raising the pistol.
Excuse me, sir?
They turn to find a 10-year-old Allison standing before them. She's wearing a protective bodysuit and a black domino mask. The hell?
I heard a rumor you can't stop sneezing.
Robber number 1 looks confused for a moment. Then he sneezes violently, again and again. The other robbers look confused. Robber number 1 steadies himself against the desk, eyes watering, gasping for breath, still sneezing. He gestures to his men. Get her. The other robbers start forward. That's when all hell breaks loose. Robber number 5 is jerked off his feet by an invisible force. His body rockets straight up, ricocheting off the ceiling. A horrible scream rings out. A whip around, we see robber number 4 being dragged headfirst into an air duct by a pair of monstrous green tentacles. Robber number 2 swirls and sees number 5 standing on the counter. He raises his gun just as number 5 blinks out of sight. Robber number 2 glances down and sees that somehow, in the blink of an eye, his gun has been replaced by a janitor's squeegee. A split second later, he is slammed sideways out of frame by a small, dark blur. The room erupts in chaos. We follow one of the yuppie hostages as she crawls frantically across the floor. And ahead of her, a table explodes into splinters as robber number 4 is dropped from the sky. A hostage screams, and something goes streaking through the air just above her. The action is overwhelming, a little frightening. This is what it's like to be in the presence of gods. Robber number 1, the last gunman left standing. He sneezes again, then turns to Allison. She smiles sweetly.
I heard a rumor your gun doesn't work.
Snarling, he aims at her, pulls the trigger. Click, the gun misfires. Allison shrugs slightly.
Told you.
A split second later, young Luther drops from the sky, crushing the gunman down out of frame. Exterior city streets moments later, flashback. Hostages flee the bank. They are met in the street by the police present surrounding the building. From inside the bank, we hear a dull impact. Several windows explode, showering the street with glass. A shadow falls from across the cops. He looks skyward. Hargreaves' steam-powered dirigible over the city. Interior dirigible observation deck. Continuous flashback. Hargreaves watches from the observation deck. A young Vanya is at his side, her face pressed against the glass.
Dad, I mean, Mr. Monocle, sir. Why can't I go play with the others?
Well, number 7, there's just nothing special about you. She hangs her head in a quiet voice.
Oh,
Exterior city streets, same time, flashback. Angel.
Police, hostages, and TV camera crew all watch, astounded as the bank doors open and the rescuers emerge. Their children, little kids wearing domino masks. The young Luther surveys the scene, beaming with pride. This is what a superhero looks like, and the world will never be the same. We dissolve back to the present. Exterior outside Academy Gate, sundown, dusk. The sky bathed in hues of purple and blue. Vanya stands by the road checking her phone. Behind her, the security gate creaks open and Pogo emerges.
If you're going to convince me to stay, you're wasting your time.
I was going to offer you a ride.
oh, the car's almost here, but thanks. He's not wrong, you know, Diego.
She looks at Pogo solemnly.
I don't belong here.
I hope you know, your father loved you all very much in his own way.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the problem, isn't it?
She kneels, hugs him fiercely.
Goodbye, Pogo.
Miss Vanya.
The taxi arrives. Vanya climbs in the back. Pogo watches sadly as the car pulls away, vanishing into the night. Interior mansion night. The siblings have retreated to adjacent rooms. Luther is slumped in the darkened sitting room. Number 5 is scouring the kitchen for some instant coffee. Klaus floats above him, staring raptly at his fingers, stoned out of his gourd. There has to be some here somewhere. Has to be here somewhere. What kind of adult doesn't drink coffee? Allison meets Pogo in the foyer. Where's Vanya?
She left.
Pity. She's the only one of you I actually trust. Her and the floating idiot. That's Mr. Floating Idiot. Allison glances at Luther, sitting alone in the darkness. Luther, you okay? He doesn't answer. Diego enters, carrying a duffel bag.
Give him a banana. He'll perk right up.
Oh, good. Diego's still here. Said no one ever. Diego pauses, glances around at his siblings.
So, lots of fun, guys. Let's totes do it again.
Yeah, let's. As he turns to leave, Luther finally speaks up.
No one else is leaving.
Hey, look at that. Right on time.
Luther.
We have to figure this out.
There's nothing to figure out. Dad died. The world spins on. The end.
You read the autopsy report.
And,
When they found the body, his monocle was missing.
and,
And think about it. Have any of you ever seen Dad without his monocle? Even once?
A moment while this realization sinks in.
what's
No.
your point?
Well, that whoever has that monocle is either the last person to see our father alive or the first one to see him dead. I don't care what you thought of him. I really don't. What any of you thought you want to hate his guts, fine. Who gives a shit? But we're not going to pretend like this thing didn't happen. We owe Dad that much.
Diego stares at Luther, then shakes his head.
Need help, Luther. Seriously. Number 5, enjoy puberty. Allison, good luck with that best beach bods of the summer list. I hear there's some real fierce competition this year. Klaus,
Klaus shakes off his reverie and flashes a dazzling smile. Are we leaving?
I'm leaving by myself.
Lovely. I'll get my things. Klaus floats out of the room on his back. Diego glances back at Luther and Allison, then wordlessly exits the house. Exterior Umbrella Academy, night. Diego climbs behind the wheel of his black 72 Cutlass Supreme convertible. He slams the door. As he starts the car, Klaus levitates into the frame and settles into the passenger seat. He smiles brightly at Diego. I've been eating speed for the last 3 days, and every time I close my eyes, I see centipedes. Diego grins, grimly turns the key. The car roars to life.
Fantastic.
Interior mansion, kitchen, sitting room, same time. Number 5 angrily slams a pantry door. Pogo, for the love of Christ, tell me there's coffee somewhere.
Your father didn't believe in caffeine.
Ah, of course he didn't. The boy hops down, heads towards the garage. I'm taking the Bentley into town. Do you even know how to drive? I know how to do everything. Interior mansion garage moments later. Number 5 hits the lights, revealing a garage stacked with classic cars. Jay Leno would be jealous. He climbs behind the wheel of a Bentley, attaches a wood block to his right shoe to reach the pedals. Guns the engine, grins. Exterior Umbrella Academy continuous. The Bentley screams out of the garage. It swerves dangerously onto the lawn, digging deep furrows into the grass before righting itself and speeding away into the night. Exterior Umbrella Academy rooftop night. Allison climbs out her bedroom window onto the sloped roof. She finds Luther sitting alone, gazing up at the stars. He holds up the eye of Anubis gem, stares through it, breaking the sky into a prism of competing constellations.
Oh, you're still here.
Just waiting on my car. Want some company? He scoots over slightly. She sits beside him. The moon is visible, the glowing crescent in the sea of darkness. So what's it like up there?
Quiet. Cold.
Wish I could see it. Maybe someday you'll take me up there with you, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Can I ask you something? I haven't seen you use your powers once since I've been back.
Yeah, well, the last time didn't turn out so hot. Careful what you wish for, blah, blah, blah. How about you? Luther is silent for a long moment.
I'm not stupid. I know things can never go back to, the way they were. But that doesn't mean we can't still try. Father brought us together for a reason.
Didn't bring us together, Luther. He took us from our homes, from our real families. He turned us into this.
We're still a family. I mean,
We're an experiment, and not a very good one. Luther falls silent, hangs his head. Far below, the mansion gates swing open to admit a black stretch limousine.
you should go.
You should come. I can show you California. Do the whole Hollywood sign Disneyland thing. He meets her gaze, wants so badly to say yes, but instead,
You know I can't.
yeah, I know. Don't stay gone forever. The rest of us miss you down here. She stands, kisses him on the forehead, then climbs back through the window, leaving Luther alone. He stares at the ruby in his hand, then he clenches his fist, as if trying to crush the gem into dust. Interior mansion, bedroom moments later. Allison gathers her luggage, starts for the door. Her gaze falls on an old photograph of the Umbrella Academy in its prime. 7 smiling children, grinning and laughing. She gazes at the image, perhaps remembering how different things were back then, how happy they were. Exterior, all-night diner, night. The Bentley is parked, poorly, outside a cheap Greasy Spoon diner. Number 5 is already inside. Several shadowy figures step out from the darkness, the mysterious temp agent we saw earlier. They check their weapons, then advance towards the diner. Interior all-night diner, continuous. The diner is mostly deserted, a handful of customers. Tired-looking waitress. Fry cook behind the grill. Number 5 sits at the counter, signals for the waitress. Coffee, black. Ain't she a little young for that? Get me a goddamn cup of coffee or I'll burn this place to the ground. Please. She stares at him for a long beat, then expressionless, she pours a cup, slides it over to him. He drinks deeply. You got a mouth on ya. The boy just shows his teeth like a feral chimpanzee. The waitress backs away, unnerved. He goes back to his coffee. The bell dings. The temp enters in the background. The temps enter in the background. The boy doesn't turn, but somehow He knows. He picked up his butter knife, hides it from sight. The waitress gapes at the new arrivals. Customers scurry out of the back. The fry cook lowers himself out of sight. The temp stops behind number 5, a beat. Muted?
You don't belong here.
Is that supposed to be a joke? In the background, the waitress and the remaining customers flee.
We don't want any trouble. We just want you to finish the job.
He aims his pulse rifle at the back of the boy's skull.
This doesn't have to get messy.
Finally, the boy swivels around in his stool, surveys them. You didn't bring enough men for messy. The lead temp's hand is shaking ever so slightly. Screw it. He squeezes the trigger. The counter blows apart in a spray of shrapnel, but the boy's already gone, blinking out of existence, and reappearing in the lead temp's back. He plunges a butter knife into the agent's neck. The other temps panic, open fire on their own boss, cutting him to ribbons. Number 5 blinks away slowly. He reappears, sliding across the floor right between the legs of the temp, plucking the man's gun out from the ankle holster, firing several shots forward. Blam, blam, blam. Blink. Number 5 reappears in midair, parkour bouncing off the nearest wall, roundhouse kicking a temp in the face. Blink. He reappears in the kitchen. One of the temps open fire, spraying the kitchen with blue plasma. Blink. The boy appears, whipping a frying pan like a discus. Shunk. The handle of the frying pan impales the temp against the wall, quivering in his forehead. Blink, blink, blink. The boy pops in and out of existence, fighting hand to hand with two temps simultaneously. One of the temps glances down and panics. All the grenades on his bandolier have somehow been primed. Blink. The boy appears behind him. Mule kicks the back of the temp's head, sends him pinwheeling headfirst into the second agent. Exterior all-night diner continuous. Whomp. The dull explosion lights up the interior of the diner. Debris rains across the parking lot. Interior all-night diner continuous. In a matter of seconds, the entire diner has been reduced to rubble. The floor slick with blood and debris. Fire spreads along the walls. The air thick with toxic smoke. Number 5 picks his way through the carnage, drenched with blood, but otherwise untouched. One last temp agent is still clinging to life. Number 5 calmly takes the man's head in the crook of his arm. Temp 1.
Wait.
Oh, I'm temp 1. Thank you. Number 5 brutally snaps his neck. The agent falls still. The boy looks around. Chest heaving, eyes feral. Anyone else? A section of the ceiling collapses behind him. The boy doesn't even flinch. He makes his way over to the window. Number 5's point of view. From an alley across the street, an ominous figure watches the diner burn. Light reflects off the man's frightening skeletal silver mask. Whoever he is. This dude is definitely bad news. The boy's eyes narrow. Exterior all-night diner continuous. Blink. Number 5 reappears in the diner's parking lot, skidding to a stop. He looks around wildly, but the alleyway is empty. Skull face is already gone. Number 5 turns in a slow, helpless circle. He can feel the walls closing in around him. But what does it all mean? End of Act 4. Act 5, exterior press conference day flashback, our final flashback of the episode. The hostage situation has ended. Reginald Hargraves holds an impromptu press conference outside of the bank. The costumed children, minus Vanya, of course, are lined up behind him. A crowd of reporters and TV crews jostle to get footage of the kids. The world has never seen anything like them.
Our world is changing. There are those that walk among us gifted with extraordinary abilities. The Umbrella Academy is a place to foster those abilities.
The reporter begins to call out questions.
Mr.
And,
Hargreaves. Oh. What happened to the parents?
They were suitably compensated. What were their names? 1 through 7. I only see 6. Then you can count. Next question.
Why are you doing this? I mean, What's the point?
The point?
Why did you adopt these kids?
To save the world, of course.
A beat. Save it from what? Hargrave scans the crowd, his mood darkening.
No further questions.
We hard cut back to the present. Interior mansion, Hargrave's office night. Luther sits alone in the darkened office. He spins the Eye of Anubis ruby, watches it clatter across the desk. Suddenly, he senses a change, glances up sharply. Allison stands in the doorway, wearing her black domino mask.
I really can't get rid of you, can I?
I figured, what the hell? Space Boy needs a roomer, right? Luther grins, joy radiating across his broad face.
Yeah, he does. Thanks.
LA sucks this time of year. Santa Ana's, it's a whole thing. She approaches. Allison picks up the gem on the desk. I know this. It's the Egyptian thingy, yeah?
The Eye of Anubis. Apparently Dad left it for me.
He didn't leave me crap. God, I haven't seen this stuff in years. Where's all the rest of it? Tight on Luther's face, he suddenly realizes.
The rest.
He bursts out of his chair. Allison calls out after him. Where are you going? Interior mansion basement moments later. Luther opens the door to the basement storage room. Inside, we see crumbling statues, scrap metal automatons, piles of ancient Umbrella Academy merchandise. Allison follows him into the room, baffled. Want to tell me what's going on?
Dad's final wish was for me to have that gem. Why would he do that? Because he was, what, feeling sentimental?
Doesn't sound like Dad.
Exactly. Which means there must have been...
Whips away a tarp, covering an old Egyptian statue, the god Anubis. His eyes are staring black sockets.
Another reason.
Luther carefully lifts a gem into the statue's eyes, twisting it. Suddenly it comes alive in his hands, rotating. Chonka, chonka, chonka. We hear the ancient gears grinding to life. The floor shudders beneath their feet. Oh God, if you just brought an evil statue to life, I'm going to be so pissed at you. A section of the floor drops away. They both leap back. Now more stones begin to descend, forming a spiral staircase leading downwards into darkness. Allison meets Luther's gaze. His face is shining with excitement. It's the first time we've seen him truly happy. What? What's down there?
I don't know.
He gently takes her by the hand.
Let's find out.
Interior concert hall night. The same New York City concert hall we visited in the prologue. Several judges sit in the balcony, little more than dim silhouettes. A young man plays the violin on stage. The young man finishes his solo, bows swiftly. The lead judge presses an intercom button, his voice amplified.
Thank you.
The young man exits the stage. He's replaced by Vanya, carrying her violin, her expression determined. She takes her place in the spotlight.
Vanya Hargreaves, auditioning for first chair.
I'm sorry, Miss Hargreaves. Didn't we see you already?
This is where I belong.
She stares back at them with such intensity that the judges don't argue the point. After a moment, she begins to play. Her bow races across the strings, eyes closed in concentration, fingers moving almost too fast to follow. She's not just good, she's flawless. The judges certainly think so. We can see them nodding, whispering to each other. Slowly, we pan down to reveal there's someone else eavesdropping in on her audition. A shadowy figure watching from the back of the hall. Lights glint off his ominous skull-shaped mask. It's the same mysterious figure we saw outside the all-night diner. This is the conductor, and soon he will change the Umbrella Academy forever. Vanya doesn't notice him, too busy playing her heart out. The conductor listens raptly. One hand caresses the side of his mask, as if wiping away an invisible tear. Exterior waterfront night. Diego stands at the end of the rickety old wooden pier, the waters of the Hudson lapping against the dock. His convertible is parked in the background. Klaus is in the passenger seat. Diego stares into the water, his expression conflicted. Klaus, stoned out of his mind, honks the car horn. Meep, meep. Oh, Diego, not trying to rush you through whatever sort of weird superhero brooding moment this is, but I'd like to point out that I was promised waffles, and thus far, waffles have not been forthcoming thus far. Diego slowly opens his fist, revealing Hargrave's missing silver monocle.
Whoever has that monocle is either the last person to see our father alive or the first one to see him dead.
Diego lets the monocle slip through his fingers. It vanishes into the black water without so much as a splash. Interior Vanya's apartment, late night. Vanya returns to her cozy little apartment, still on a high after the best audition of her entire life. She places her violin on the shelf, hangs up her coat, turns on the light, revealing number 5, calmly drinking a cup of coffee at her kitchen table. He is still streaked with dried blood. Vanya jumps, nearly screams.
Jesus!
You should have your locks on your windows.
I'm on the 5th floor.
Still,
Oh my God, is that blood?
don't worry, it's not mine.
Yeah, not what I was worried about. What are you doing here?
I've decided you're the only one I can trust.
Why?
Because you're ordinary. He says it as a statement of fact, not an insult. Vanya sits. When I jumped forward into the future, do you know what I found?
No.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Exterior post-apocalyptic landscape day. Number 5 wanders through a deserted city. There are bodies everywhere. Desiccated, little more than skeletons. They're strewn on the sidewalk, slumped behind the wheel of the cars, collapsed in their chairs at an outdoor cafe. We can't tell what killed them, but whatever it was, it happened fast and without warning. As far as I could tell, I was the last person left alive. The boy stopped, staring at the playground. There is a tiny body sprawled out on the merry-go-round. Never figured out what killed the human race or why, but I did find something else. Number 5 approaches a corner newsstand. He picks up a daily newspaper, ancient, brittle with age. The date it happens. Interior Vanya's apartment, continuous. We return to the present. The boy regards Vanya, his expression solemn, haunted, hopeless. The world ends in 9 days, and I have no idea how to stop it. End of pilot.
Dun, dun.
That was it. That was quick.
Yes, very good, you two. Very good.
Hey, very good, us 3.
Yes. Now it's time for
Break.
intermission. A break. If you need a drink, you need some water, really, help that throat. Restroom. All right. See you
Alright.
guys in a few minutes and we'll chit chat a bit.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Why you scare me like that?
That looks nice.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm putting on a onesie, a big fuzzy red onesie.
Very
'Cause
nice.
It's cold down here. Easy.
Can't get this big old monocle thing in my eye. All right. What'd you guys think?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I just watched the show yesterday in preparation for this episode, and it's quite different. I mean, at first I thought it was really, really different, but then as you go further, you're like, oh, it's different, but the major difference is the editing. Like the scene at the end, one of the scenes at the end they have near the beginning. And the whole beginning sequence is different about how they introduce the moms and the young girl getting pregnant. There's a lot of similarities, but that skull guy isn't seen in this at all, that I recall, unless I missed it.
Been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, there are a couple of different things I noticed. So if there's any viewers watching this and you guys feel like, oh, I saw it, no, it's different enough, check out, see what the differences are and stuff. Overall, I like the screenwriting. There was a little thing here at the beginning I'm going to share real quick that I was surprised by at first, like effects, and saying that the title there, like normally that's not how you would word it. And I shouldn't say that when I remember without remembering the exact way. There's one way to do it, which is, I forget the wording of it. That's the old way they used to say it. And now, yeah, I shouldn't open my mouth without knowing for sure, but I know that's not the way it's normally done. So there are other ways. So if you're doing that, look at how to do that. But I mean,
What
yeah,
does
I
it
mean,
mean?
this they're just, this is just text on the screen saying, the date or the time, unless they wanted it to do it through some effects, like, but then they should have been clear, I think, like if they wanted the effect on the street and then walking past it or on the wall integrated or something. That's what this, like maybe there's a fire, the fire spells these words, that would be effects. But I think they just mean text on the screen. But yeah, this happens differently in the show. Same general concept, but yeah, differently. But yeah,
Did they just automatically become pregnant like that? I don't remember that part. I remember them having babies and him taking the baby. Or
that's
buying.
all the same. I thought it said 52 instead of 53 or whatever it says in here, 42 instead of 43. But yes, they did just spontaneously. The girl, there's a cute little interaction between this Russian girl and Russian kid at a swimming pool. And he tries to make a move on her and she's like, what are you doing? And then she just gives him a little kiss and she goes and she jumps in the water. And so she was in the bathing suit sitting there. And then suddenly like blood is coming up from the water and she comes up and suddenly she's pregnant. Like she got pregnant, like you saw her skinny body before and now suddenly she's pregnant. And everyone else there helps her give birth. And so just that instant, it happened even a lot quicker. So now I gave it away. But
Well, we read it.
yeah. And introductions to some of the characters were slightly different, but still the same. There are other different things I noticed, like him floating so much. They didn't have as much floating in the show. Maybe they thought, do we need this? You know how expensive it's going to be to always have them floating, do all the wire work and or VFX or however we decide to do it. So he didn't float much at all. Maybe there's one scene or something. I don't even remember it.
I didn't remember that part either.
But yeah, different
So-
things. Yeah.
Luther having the gorilla body, was that a new thing then?
When I watched it, I saw that his body was always like that, but I haven't watched all the seasons. I didn't watch season 3, and the other scenes I saw like a long time ago when they came out. So also I had your reaction when we read that too. His body looks like it's not gorilla proportions, but it is huge and it is dark and hard black with the fur. But I never thought or knew that it was grafted onto a gorilla body
Yeah.
from watching the show. I thought
His body.
that was just what happened to him or some other effect or something else happened and went on. But I never got that connection myself either.
Yeah.
And maybe it was there somewhere and I missed it, but
Or
Yeah.
maybe they decided to change that part of it and it's just him or something.
yeah.
Mm.
So,
It's interesting.
yeah, they didn't have the teddy bear there. They didn't have as many automatons. In the show, they have who they call their mom. A lot. She has a major role in it, not in this script at all.
Mhm. It was,
Some of the lines that people say in here were said by different people in the show.
oh, that's
like-
interesting.
When the guy's appearing in the sky and Luther's like, well, they're like, what should we do? And like in here it had Vanya or something said, I think we should run. In the show, it was Klaus that said, I vote run,
Wow.
you know. So they decided like who they wanted to be weaker or stronger at that point. But you were gonna say something else, Angel?
What was I gonna say? Probably. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the show a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah, the script was good too.
Yeah,
Fun.
I like both. I mean, overall, I think it had most of the same story, most of the same vibe. Everything
Had
that
the
was
same
came
feel.
across. There's a little tiny bit more of Ben in the episode,
Yeah.
number whatever, than here.
Mhm.
Yeah, the introductions are slightly different. Again, he's not floating. The other guy maybe like dies of an overdose or something. And what's her name? Like a red carpet event. A reporter asks her about the situation. Yeah. But
That's
a
quite
lot.
Cold
basically,
you
so-
got, Vicky.
What does she got?
I said that's quite a cold.
Actually, the cold's gone, but the cough is still here.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm actually healthy.
good.
But I bark.
Yeah. My mom has a chronic cough and she's just had it for years now. And ever since COVID, like I always feel like when she's doing it, people are gonna like think, why is that person coughing? You know, especially like if we're in the movies or a theater or something and stuff. But it's chronic cough she's had for years now, before COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my sister has had one for many years and they've tested her and they can't identify it as, to give it a name.
Yeah.
So chronic cough, yeah, okay.
I give it a name. Just kidding, you give it a name. No,
I like that outfit. It looks awesome. Looks really cool.
Yeah,
thank you. It's a special one of a kind suit and stuff, and this is on the inner lining of the suit as well.
Oh,
Um,
so Flipped it
this
inside
is-
out.
yeah, I just put it on inside out.
It
I
looks
just
like
said it
that's
works.
how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but you can see
Oh,
like the
that's
buttons
cool.
are that side.
Cool.
that must have been fun to button.
Yeah, there's a little fun. And here's the inside of the
Oh,
The
yeah.
jacket.
Fun.
Yep.
See, did you find that in China?
I did. I did the cliche thing. Got custom tailored suits in China.
Why wouldn't
So-
you? That's
Some were cheaper, some were more expensive, but it's like the same price you would pay for it here, but then it's custom tailored or custom made. Like I got to pick out
right
what
on.
fabric, what lining, etc.
And have it fit perfectly and everything. Very cool.
Yeah, I got from two different places. This one it's higher quality, but a little bit more. The other one was quite cheap, and those ones I got like the generic, just flat colors that you get to have a set of suits. And this one I got, hey, if you're gonna get a custom suit, get it a little unique, a little different.
Yeah.
And Mr. Wicks, would you like the special lining?
Yes, I would, please.
And
Extra
it
special.
actually goes well with your hat.
Mhm.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, lots of fun characters in this too. I think.
Yeah, my granddaughters actually watched a bunch of it and they were excited that I was doing it. And
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How old are
So,
they?
Gracie will be 11 in a little over a week, and Lila's 8. They are advanced for their ages. That's why we're reading Alice in Wonderland this summer, so that I can give them some childhood.
I love Alice in Wonderland so much.
And building a fairy hamlet under the bush.
Oh,
We have a whole bunch of stuff to add to it. It's really
you're gonna have to share pictures and video. Oh, you're frozen. I'll tell you when you unfreeze.
I'm
You're gonna
hoping
have
to
share
find
pic-
little lights that I can
Yeah.
put in there, and then it'll be lit up. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I wanted to create something there, do something like that where you have like, or create it. I thought about that before and trying to create it where the roof itself, the little fairy house roof, is actually a solar panel, just enough power to power like a single like LED light inside that
Right.
when it goes off, that lights up at night. So the daylight can power that at night. And so
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's doable.
that
I
would
know
be cool.
people who can do this. Oh,
I think you should recruit their help, but you gotta send us, share pictures or videos when you guys finish that.
yeah, when we get it done. I can't get them quite interested in it yet. And when I say school's coming, they'll want to finish it. Because school is coming soon.
Oh, it's not here already? Like down here, like this week was when everybody started.
No,
Usually
no.
September, the end of the month, in
That's
how-
October or the beginning of September.
Yeah.
Here, when I grew up as a kid, it was early September, like the first, second week of September. Now it's earlier and earlier for
Hmm.
younger generations.
There are year-round schools here.
Mhm.
And my
Yeah.
kid once, I can't remember how it went. Anyways, yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. I guess going back to the script, like, I mean, we maybe brought unique voices, but each of the characters seemed quite unique, right? Separate, different from each other.
They do, all of them. And Vanya
Mhm.
has quite a curve.
She
Quite a curve.
changes, you say.
She does.
There's a hint
Yes.
for others to watch more.
Yeah, she's timid right now. So,
Could
Yeah.
there be an arc there somewhere? Room for
Maybe.
change?
Hmm.
We'll see.
And yeah, it's interesting. This is really nice to see because throughout this episode, no arcs that I could see. But throughout the series, huge arcs.
They really established the characters and their relationships with each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is kind of what you do in the first scene of a play. You know, you got the rest of the play to have fun with characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I haven't done many plays, so thank you for sharing that. Even though we may have lost you
Yes.
to the
Rose
temporal, influx from number, whatever it was, 5.
number 5.
But you're back. Welcome back. All right. Any more thoughts on this or anything?
I never say much on these things, so
So now's
Yeah.
your chance.
Yeah, I'm like Angel. I usually don't say a lot. So
Yeah,
I've
we are
s-
like the quieter ones.
I've said my piece.
The thing I said at the beginning, I didn't have a clue of that until today when I started doing a little bit of research, that it was a comic book first, and then they tried to make it into a feature first, and then it became the series. And the person who wrote it and created it was a person from My Chemical Romance, the band. So
I didn't
Right.
know that either.
yeah,
And you said it so fast that I was like, what? I have to
yeah.
read that and hear what you actually said. That's very cool. Yeah, so he created it and then wrote it, or just created it and somebody else wrote it?
I don't know his name, so I can't see if that was his name on the front of the thing. We can do a little research right now if we wanted.
His name was Slayer.
But like I'm guessing he wrote the comic book. Oh yeah, written by, okay, yeah, so it's written by Jeremy Slater, but it says based on the Umbrella Academy by Gerald Way and Gabrielle Ba.
Right.
So I'm guessing one of those is the guy.
Neat.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if any of their old music videos have any references to it.
All right, so they have Gerald Way. I have no clue about the music videos either, but Gerald Way was the lead vocalist, and he's the name that's there. He wrote it.
Hmm.
Good music too. I like
Mhm. Yep. All right. Well, if we can't think of anything else, then, but I think I'm proud of us. Like,
Yes.
again, those that don't know, 3 that were going to be here tonight, or that we thought might be here tonight, some let us know ahead of time, some had other difficulties, weren't here at the last minute. So we just like, well, we'll still take it on. And
Yeah.
we, at the beginning, gave each other the other 3 people's roles, and we did it. So
3
I'm
showed
proud
up,
of us. I think we
3
did a good job.
didn't.
High five,
Yeah.
everybody.
I disappeared. It's a magic trick. Look,
Yeah.
Whoa!
when we give high fives, we
You're a
disappear.
superhero.
Oh, that's me. I'm 5. Haha.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, then next week
Fun.
we are currently scheduled to do
Can't remember.
I had it in my head and it's almost there, but it's Arrested Development. See, my
Yes.
brain, it's not developing, it's arrested right there. You can see that. But it might be Pushing Daisies, maybe Pushing Daisies, maybe Arrested Development.
Hmm.
Tune in next week to see, or skip to the next video if you're watching our All Table Reads playlist that we have on YouTube. We can watch all of them in order from the newest to the oldest.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Jacob will not be here.
Nope, you lucky
I will be
people.
hosting. We do have to. We do. Just plug your ears. It's not very interesting. We have to get that sorted out so that when I log in, it'll work, and I don't have us on some other live.
Mhm, mhm.
So some wrong channel.
Yep.
Wrong.
We'll get that all sorted out.
Okay.
Or come and watch the drama unfold live next week.
Yes.
It's real live drama. Yes.
And if you want to be a part of the table reads, if you're a writer, if you're an actor, you know what I mean? Go to our Table Read Tuesday group on Facebook page and reach out. Let us know.
If you have
All
cool
right.
outfits and costumes, you have a chance to wear them at Table Read Tuesday.
Just come and have fun either way.
Yes. We're
No
pretty
pressure.
easygoing most of the time.
Yeah. You just show up and you read. Show up and you act.
Especially, yeah.
What you love.
Wait, I've been here like almost every single time, and
know.
I don't remember things like not
Ever
being
going smoothly?
easygoing.
I'm just kidding.
What did you say? I missed that.
I was kidding around saying ever going smoothly, but Vicky
Oh.
said she doesn't remember things not going
Yeah, that right.
smoothly. No, what'd you say?
Yeah. Any of the
All
drama
right.
is hidden in the chats.
Any of the drama is the fun part of the
mean,
read and
it's the
the
reading.
script and the story.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
what comes out of our mouth while the pages are turning.
Save the drama for the cameras. But all right,
Like,
cool. Then we'll see you guys next week or in 2 weeks, and have fun, with all you guys do. Again, jacobpatrick.com, but more Table Read Tuesdays on YouTube and Facebook. And where to find you guys again?
Angel CDP. It's my initial. My name and my initials. On various platforms, like Instagram.
I'm on Facebook under the name Vicky Dykes, and I'm on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7.
All right. Thank you guys for being brave and taking this on. All
Yes.
right. Take care, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.